Perfect. So I wanted to take a second to welcome you all. This is for students who are interested in eventually making their way to those four majors listed on the screen there. So computer engineering, computer science, electrical engineering technology. If you're in the wrong space, please go ahead and exit our room and join the right space, or you can stay here and join your next intended major for the second session. That's always an option as well. But wanted to take a second to welcome you all. My name is Beth Shelton-Hounds. I'm one of the advisors for our department. There are two other advisors who I'll let introduce themselves at this time.
Madeline, you're next to her on the squares on the top.
Okay, cool. My name's Madeline Bible. I'm one of the other advisors for the majors listed here. Hi, we're glad to have you. Thanks for being with us.
Hello, I'm Mr. Daniels, and I'm the advisor that works with students whose last names start between A and G. So if you join us and your last name starts with A through G, you'll be working with me.
Awesome. Thanks. And just for clarification, I work with the middle of the alphabet, H through O, and Madeline works with the last third of the alphabet, P through Z. So just as an FYI, you'll get an idea of who you could reach out to if you have questions. I think that's also notated on our last slide. So if you missed that at all, don't worry. We'll get you that information at the end. So again, welcome. Go ahead and dive right into our content here. If you don't mind, if you please wait to hold questions at the end, that'd be greatly appreciated, and we'll give plenty of time at the end for you to, put forth anything that you need clarification on or anything that you're curious about. We'd love to field your questions, but we'll hold them all till the end, and then we'll tackle them all at one time. So, perfect.
You know what? I did not realize that my slide was first. I thought it was actually last, but okay, here we go. Okay, so as you saw in the intro slide, we deal with four different majors here in our department: computer science, computer engineering, electrical engineering, and electrical engineering technology. And so I want to take a few minutes to talk about some of the differences between these majors and some of the similarities between these majors, okay? Starting with computer science. Computer science deals with more than anything else software and programming. There is one class in the curriculum for computer science that is hardware related. So there's only one required class in the major that's hardware related. But we do have electives within this curriculum for computer science that if you want more hardware, you can use your elective credits and steer them in that direction. But if you're one of those people who doesn't care at all what's going on the inside of computer science, that might be the major for you, okay? Now, the next major on our list is computer engineering. Now, computer engineering by its name shows it deals with computers, but it is as much involved with the hardware of computers as it is with the software, okay? In fact, I tell my students all the time when they're asking me about which one would be a better fit for them, the electrical engineering curriculum has more similarities to computer engineering than does computer science to computer engineering, okay? You would think when they both have computer in their name, they would be closer, but there is a lot of hardware in computer engineering, because if you want to be a computer engineer, you actually have to know how computers are put together, not just how to program them or write programs for them or do software. But you have to understand the circuitry, the digital design of computers, power considerations, all the stuff with microprocessors and power consideration. All those things are the domain of a computer engineer. And so computer engineers need to know a lot of the electrical side of a computer and how it operates. Okay, then we get to electrical engineering. Electrical engineering, there's no majors in our department that require no programming. So in all four of these majors, you're going to have to do a little programming. Okay, electrical engineering and electrical engineering technologies, they do have to take programming. And so along with the engineering foundations classes that everybody's taking, you will take a class in C++ programming as an electrical engineer or electrical engineering technology student. But with electrical engineering, you're dealing with power considerations, digital design, circuitry, stuff like that, renewable energies. And there's more slides that we're going to talk about that gets in depth about how the curriculum goes. But there also is overlap with, like I said, computer engineering and computer science with electrical engineering. And the last major is electrical engineering technology. Now, the key distinction between electrical engineering and electrical engineering technology revolves around application. Electrical engineering is much more theoretical in its orientation than electrical engineering technology. Electrical engineering technology students are preparing to be engineers that apply. Now, you'll with EET classes, all of the classes have lectures, but also too an accompanied lab. So when you go into the lecture and you learn about the theory, you're also going to take that theory and you're going to apply it in an actual lab. So when you're talking about a circuit, you're going to go into a lab, you're going to build that circuit. Okay, it is not that there's no application in electrical engineering, but there is not an accompanying lab in all of their classes. Some have labs, some don't have labs. And once again, there's a much more keener influence on theory than application in EE as opposed to electrical engineering technology. So those are our four majors: computer science, computer engineering, electrical engineering, and electrical engineering technology. They do overlap a little bit, and all of them have a little bit of programming in them. Computer science has the least amount of hardware. Electrical engineering has the most hardware, followed by followed by electrical engineering, and then computer engineering. So that's my spiel about these four different majors. Back from Madeline, did you have anything you would like to add to what I have illuminated here? Okay, then we can move on.
Nope. Perfect. So let's go ahead and we'll dive in a little bit further into these majors here. So specifically computer science. So as Mr. Daniels mentioned, and you'll note it's the last bullet point here, it's the least amount of hardware. So if you're a student who's not, as Mr. Daniels mentioned, not really interested in the actual like physical computer, but rather the software, this is probably the major for you. It's designing and building computational information and processing systems. You'll develop software, algorithms, data management is a big one for computer science. That's also a hot topic in the industry at the moment. So you'll hear people talk about big data, data analytics, those kinds of things. This major aligns really nicely with sort of those newer developments within this field. And you'll do analysis systems as well. Lots of programming in this major. Unlike computer engineering, in this major, you'll take specific coursework that's applicable to your degree in a different or additional language as opposed to C and C++. You'll also cover Python programming as a specific course within this major. So lots of programming, lots of coding, very heavy in that area. This major also opens the door for careers in cybersecurity. It's the closest major we have to software engineering at the University of Cincinnati. So some institutions actually have a software engineering degree. University of Cincinnati does not yet have a software engineering degree. So if you are interested in being a software engineer, if that's always been your lifelong goals, computer science is going to be the major for you. And again, that data analysis, which again is a big area of research and development and advancement right now within the tech world. This is also the path that will really open the doors for artificial intelligence, if that's an area where you really want to find yourself concentrating in a future career. So one of the things we also share in these presentations is if for whatever reason you find an alternate path that ultimately ends in one of these career fields, we've talked about some of these alternative options in the right half of the screen. You'll see there the information systems major in the College of Business is a really wonderful alternative pathway to computer science if you are necessarily interested in co-ops, or if there's a reason that the College of Engineering's computer science major maybe isn't the best fit for you. These are some of the parallel pathways. There are a lot of overlap with information technology. So they do a lot of software as well. So that could be a really wonderful alternative pathway as well. College of Education, Criminal Justice, and Human Services does require co-op. So if being a co-op student is a really important feature for you, the information technology might be a nice alternative path. In addition to that, particularly if you're interested in something like artificial intelligence or even the data analysis, which are very math-centered and really will require you to have strong math skills, something like a math major with a CS minor could be a really nice fit, so that you have those math skills and the software background to be able to merge those two fields and really find yourself on some cutting edge areas. And then the last and final is one of the really popular options and a very popular major on campus is the CS minor. So if you are looking to transition, but you can't necessarily push back your graduation date, and because you're jumping to a 5-year program, but you're 2 years into another program, and you don't want to celebrate your 30th birthday with us, which I totally understand, but you are still very interested in this discipline, the CS minor might be a really, really great fit for you. So we always want to share that information as well. A last and final option that many students don't think about because it just doesn't come to mind, right? You're so focused on a bachelor's degree. Why on earth would you be thinking about a master's degree at this point? But one of the really popular master's in engineering options that we have within the college as well is in computer science. And so students who, again, you're already committed to a major, you're so far in, you don't want to push back the graduation date. If you obtain the CS minor with some modifications and some real intentionality could make you eligible to apply for the MEng in CS. Typically that's about a 30 credit hour master's degree. So that could be a way for you to ultimately end up where you want to be through, again, an alternative or parallel pathway. So we just wanted to share those additional pieces with you as well. So moving on, we'll cover computer engineering. So I really quickly just want to bring your attention. If you're interested in being a computer engineer, don't tell someone that you're in CE. CE is actually civil engineering. It's actually CVE. But if you tell someone you're interested in CE, that doesn't tell us a lot. So be sure that you're indicating it as CompE, so CMPE. Sometimes we get emails from students who, for us, it's confusing. For you, it makes perfect sense because you know what you're talking about, but for us, we don't know. So just make sure you use that 4-digit code for us if you're talking about CompE. I accidentally replied to a student and confused the heck out of him because I thought he was talking about something totally different when he was actually talking about computer engineering. So this is a quick FYI. And so computer engineering, as Mr. Daniels mentioned as well, is the design and analysis of both hardware and software. Excuse me. So it's the nice marrying of those two things where you're really engaged with both portions of that kind of technology. You'll dive into operating systems. Computer architecture is a big piece of the computer engineering curriculum. Computer networks. You'll dive into some robotics and some artificial intelligence as well with this major. So that's not limited to computer science. And then you'll do computer-aided design tools as well. Computer engineering has or lends itself really nicely to also earning a CS minor. So that's an additional, or it's actually just being very intentional with some electives that you'll take as a junior or senior. So again, if you can really see yourself being in software long term, you can always add the CS minor, but the hardware component will be a skill set that you have and could very likely come in handy in a future career. So we always encourage computer engineers who enjoy the hardware but really love the software to maybe consider that CS minor. Computer engineers, we talked about a lot of overlap. That Venn diagram really illustrates it very nicely. Computer engineers are actually eligible for both electrical engineering and computer science jobs. So your skill set's really broad and opens a lot of doors for you long term, but you have to put up with things like hardware. So if you don't necessarily love the hardware, but you can tolerate it and you are semi-interested in it, computer engineering might be a great fit for you so that it opens a lot of doors for you long term. Computer engineering, very similarly to electrical engineering, is very heavy in math and physics as disciplines. So if you're not super interested in those areas, we might think twice about diving headfirst into some of these computer engineering courses. Again, parallel pathways that we wanted to share: a physics major or even a math major out of arts and sciences. Consider the CS minor paired with those. Those are great fits. We work with a lot of math majors who get CS minors. Electrical engineering is a nice segue. If you're really not feeling the software side of things, jumping over to electrical engineering and really just tackling the hardware could be an option and open up some doors for you as well. Information technology also really aligns really nicely with the computer engineering areas if you're interested. Also, again, a co-op program. There's also an MEng in computer engineering, so we want to share that with you as well. So the next one we'll cover is actually electrical engineering. So this is where it starts to deviate a little bit from the software. So in this major, you'll develop electrical equipment, design and manufacturing processes for all sorts of processes and devices. So this is really where you get into designing efficiency, evaluating processes to make sure they are the most efficient, a little bit more like traditional, what you think of when you think of engineering work. Is electrical engineering will definitely cover that. Microelectronics and supercomputers are also part of electrical engineering too. So again, Mr. Daniels mentioned power source, things like that. And you can be heavily engaged on the computer or technical side. Electrical engineering also very much deviates from the technical, or when I say technical, I mean computers specifically, but you can get into control systems, space systems, robotics, lasers, photonics. There's a ton of additional like hardware doors that electrical engineering will open for you as well. There's some really fun and unique ones. Renewable energy is something that our electrical engineers can participate in. There's a really unique class offered by one of our faculty members in this area. Nanotechnologies is another area where we have some faculty specialty. So if you're interested in that, definitely do some research and see if it'd be a good fit for you. As I just mentioned, it's also math and physics heavy. So if you don't love either of those two disciplines, maybe we should think twice about electrical engineering as a full-blown major for you. And so definitely something to consider what your skill sets are, what you enjoy learning. Definitely something to consider. Again, parallel pathways for electrical engineering, the electrical engineering technology program, which I'll cover in just a minute here, and then information technology as well. MEng electrical engineering is available as an option too. So I want to cover electrical engineering technology. Mr. Daniels covered this one really nicely, so I won't spend too much time here, but this is a much more hands-on approach. If you're more tactile in the way that you learn, if you learn better in a lab situation, and you learn more by like touching and building, this might be a really great fit for you. This is heavy in robotics, radios, renewable energy, all of those areas as well. This has much more lab time, so it's much less theoretical and more actual like physical implementation. Electrical engineering technology also has the least amount of math in our department. So if you really enjoy this field of study but aren't the greatest student in math, this might be a great fit for you. And again, the parallel pathways recommendations, there's mechanical engineering technology, which is very similar, in industrial management. Those would be options for you in this case. So I think that kind of puts us, we have the Venn diagram again. We just want to reiterate that because you choose one in our department doesn't necessarily mean that you shut doors on areas that you may also be interested in. So don't be nervous to pick one, because the truth is there is a lot of overlap. So just keep that in mind as you're, picking first and second choices. It looks like Mr. Daniels might be at a rave. I don't know what was going on there. So again, we want to leave ample time for questions here. Please let us know that you have a question in the chat. Either go ahead and type your question in the chat, or we can call on you and make sure we answer any questions that y'all have.
We do have one question in the chat. How will not taking the Chem 1040 lab affect my career? After being admitted to the major of my choice, will it affect my co-op timing or eligibility? Depending on the major you're admitted to, potentially, your assigned advisor could chat more if you're admitted about your co-op timeline. That
Sure.
lab itself isn't necessarily going to hold you back too much. It's what might come after that if it's going to be, if you're like more behind than just the lab.
Well, I could also add with the electrical engineering technology major, the lab's not required, but it is required for EE, CompE, and CS. One thing I will say, you're going to eventually need it before you graduate because it's part of the curriculum, but I don't think it's a substantial enough area to the transition process. So if you were missing the lab, you would just pick it up later. It wouldn't be an obstacle to you applying for transfer.
And very much we'll keep into consideration. It's probably or very likely through no fault of your own that you weren't able to complete the lab this fall because it wasn't offered remotely and you needed that opportunity for any number of reasons. So it's not an area where a student would be like punished because you weren't able to complete that lab. I think this year in particular, there are going to be a few asterisks and a couple leniencies because of COVID. I think this is one of the areas where we'll be able to be a little bit more lenient because through no fault of your own, you couldn't complete that class this fall. So don't worry about it too much. We'll sneak it in there if you need it. So another quick question. I'm one of the lucky ones who will be celebrating my 30th birthday with UC. Does any of my prior experience count as a co-op? That is a fabulous question. That's definitely something we'll tackle with your assigned co-op advisor once we get to that point. There is an application or process whereby previous experience can count, but that gets determined by the co-op folks to make sure that what you were doing is applicable and worthy and rounds out your experience in the way that they expect and want for you. So it's a definite possibility, but we'll get you connected with your co-op advisor at the right time.
The next one, currently an ME student, is it possible to double major in ME and EE?
I'll deal with that. It's notoriously difficult to double major with any engineering major in anything else, let alone another engineering major. There's issues with co-op. There's issues with as you get to the upper level coursework, you're going to have one offering of classes. Right now, there's multiple offerings of chemistry and multiple sections of ENED and multiple sections of calculus and stuff like that. But as you get higher and higher in your curriculum, there's one offering. And when you have two different majors, the likelihood that those one offerings are going to be offered at the same time gets higher. And then required classes from one major might be offered when you're on co-op for the other one. And so it is extremely difficult to pull off, if not impossible in some situations, to pull off a double major with our majors and any other engineering majors. And that would include also some non-engineering majors. I've had a few students successfully pull off a math a math and engineering double major, and I had one last year that did sociology and computer science. But it was really challenging, and I actively discouraged them from trying it, only for the reason that sometimes the thing we're most concerned about is you put all that time and all that effort into doing the double major, and then when you get to the latter part of your curriculum, it just won't work out, and then you get frustrated, you know. And then it's either stay here longer or don't pursue the double major, and then you're like, oh, I invested all this time, and so that's our major concern with double majors, is that it will seem easier than it really is in the beginning, and it will lull you into a false sense of complacency. And then when you get into the latter part of your curriculum, you really start running into obstacles that are really disappointing. So I told my students that wanted to double major, you have to be satisfied with a minor and a major, and if push comes to shove, if you want to get out of here in the same amount of time.
That's a good answer. We are almost at time, so if you all are going to go to another room, that will start in 2 minutes. We'll keep answering questions until we start our next session in 2 minutes. So what's one reason, Beth, you would recommend someone to take CompE over EE quickly?
I think for me, it's the software side of things. Like, are you interested in the data structures, components, and do you really see yourself finding a career within computers? If not, EE is going to open more general, broader doors. CompE will do that as well, but it's the software. If you really aren't interested in software, don't be a computer engineer because you'll be miserable.
Perfect. What to do to improve holistic review in the application? We are not aware of what the requirements for the holistic review are yet.
That's determined by faculty. Yeah. Quick one here. There's one before this, but how competitive is CS to enter? CS is our most competitive major within the department. So obviously the encouragement to boost your GPA as high as possible to be as competitive as possible. Certainly that 3.0 mark hopefully is fairly achievable, but it is by far the most competitive major within our department. So keep that in mind when you're feeling like not studying for those calc exams. Study so you can be as competitive as possible. And then there was a question in here. Are you required to take 5 co-op semesters? Would you be able to remove 1 or more if you've already taken 2 years worth of required courses before switching over? What if you finish all the credit requirements before you finish your co-ops? So that's going to be really challenging. So you would probably never finish all your credit requirements before you finish your co-ops. It might happen, but it's probably going to be pretty rare. But if you, depending on where you come into the curriculum, you're required to do as many co-ops as you possibly can given that timeline. So sometimes for transfer students and transition students, you do as few as 3 or 4, but in general, most students complete 5. And students should expect to complete 5.
Yeah, I wanted to elaborate. You will be required to do the number of co-ops that are left for the people you're joining. So when you join a particular graduating class, where you join in their curriculum is where you will follow them. And so if there's 4 more co-ops left for that group, you'll do 4. If it's 5 more co-ops left for that group, you'll do 5, and so on. The 3, you can't go lower than 3. But you have to follow the number of co-ops that are left in the curriculum when you join the curriculum. We make you go back in time and make up ones that you messed up.
I'm going to pull something real quick. So I'm going to minimize my screen and pull up something really quickly here.
Question GPA.
Are you answering that last question, Beth?
Yeah, so what's the GPA requirement? The GPA requirement varies by engineering discipline. I'll link in the chat the different requirements based on the engineering major. So depending on what kind of student you are, transfer, change of major, you can find that information in the drop-down menus at this link that I've just entered in the chat.
Perfect. And Corinne will have another follow-up at the end. I think at 4:55 to the end, there will be a central Q&A. So anything about transition process, all of that jazz, go to there and chat with Corinne. All right, number 7.
I'll also invite you. just really quickly, go ahead and take a screenshot of our emails. If you have any more really specific questions and you want to reach out to one of us, please feel free to do so. Just grab our email addresses listed here.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks for being with us today. Good luck with your applications and let us know if you have any questions.